Attention, bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen! Hello, yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I am your host today, Peter, with my co-host
Jackie
and
Japheth.
And we're back at the Renaissance.
I'm
Look.
painting the 16th chapel.
There's-
I'm in Epcot.
That's right.
I guess a lot of people don't realize that there are classifications
Right.
of the Disney movies.
Right.
When I mentioned it, I was speaking to a colleague and they're like, wait, there are classifications of movies? I'm like, yeah.
There are eras.
This is perfectly normal. And they were just amazed by it.
This is such a trend also with eras with
Right.
our generation lately.
Yes.
They're like, oh, this is my finding myself era. I've been doing it for 20 years in my adult life.
Right.
Still looking. Japheth, where are you?
It's like when single people be like, oh, this is just like, I'm just going to focus on me and not date. And it's just like, wink, wink. I know what that means.
No one's swiping on you.
Right. But no, the origins of this series, we've gone through the ages of Disney animated movies.
What are those eras?
Was it
The gold era.
Golden Era? Then we had like the
war.
wartime.
Silver.
Was it Silver next? And then Bronze.
Yep.
The Dark
Or the
Age.
Dark Ages.
And then this is the Renaissance. And so
What's the next era called?
I've heard multiple names. I've heard it as the experimental era. I've heard it as the forgotten era. So it's got a variety of different names. So
Yeah, the end of the Eisner Age.
yeah, pretty much. But for those who do not realize, the Renaissance era is basically the 90s.
The millennials got the best era for
It's
kids.
true. Like, this is like, when you think of Disney movie, this is the Disney movie you think of.
Yes. It was definitely when we were ranking these, when I was ranking these, it was hard for me to like pick which one is better than the other. And so I had to make up like, okay, well, I've got to go through each category. Like, okay, I've got to give each movie a score based off of different categories and then give it off of that.
Good luck.
And it's
It was
also
rough.
hard because, like, as a kid, I would watch, like, a few movies multiple times. But now as an adult, because I watched it so much, I'm like, I don't really want to watch the movie again. Or
If you have kids, you watch, like last
Yeah.
year, I watched Beauty and the Beast like 3 or 4 times a day. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I was not interested in doing that. I look on like Wikipedia where they show the cinema score, and the ones that did have one, not including Little Mermaid or Rescuer Down Under, they all have A's.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
They're-
Pocahontas has an A minus.
Yeah, you look at all of the movies and like they're all good, they're all winners. Like they will outbeat any
Most of,
movie.
and that's one of the reasons why we decided to break this down into the different eras, is because we've just felt like the Renaissance would just run the ticket over like the our favorite Disney movies.
Well, and it comes.
Yes, there might be a few, dark horses in there, but like for the most part, most of our picks for our top favorite movies would be these Renaissance era movies.
And even if you compare art, like the
Yeah.
Renaissance era art to
Oh,
like
yes.
Dark Age artwork,
Correct.
where they're like they look like they're the screaming faces and like everything's blue, red, and
Right.
green, and you're just like, ugh, and got gold. It's like
Right.
it's hard to compare, so it's best to stick them together in their era and judge them together, and that's
Right.
what we're doing here with this.
Yeah, because like I hate that dreaded question of like, oh, what's your favorite Disney movie? And I'm
like
just
Hercules.
like,
Complicated.
oh,
It's
that's-
complicated.
that's
It's not complicated. It's Hercules every time.
Well, I know what your number one is.
Yes. There's no like, I'm not gonna budge. There's nothing that can be said.
Rocketeer,
It's better than Rocketeer.
Indiana Jones.
That's hard to compare there for me. Yeah, I can't compare. No, Hercules isn't my number one movie of all time, but it's my number one animated
Sure.
across the board. And we'll get into discussion of
Yeah.
what was good in this era. Like, I was kind of thinking, like, what did I like as a kid, and what do I like now as an adult?
Right. And that's why
And that's where there's a shift in like my number one.
Same.
Right. And that's where I dealt with my conflict. And it's funny though, and I'll talk about this when we get to our 1 and 2. I had a choice is like, okay, my 1 and 2, it's between these two. And I broke it down to like, okay, I'm going to grade all of these and I'm going to, give them each a score. And they both ended up with the same score. And I'm like, didn't help.
And that's why the Rescuers Down Under won.
That's right. Rescuers Down Under, number 1. So
Do you want me to list them?
Yeah, let's list the movies of the Renaissance.
Okay,
our
so
audience knows.
these movies, there are 10 movies, and they span from The Little Mermaid in 1989, and the last movie that was released was Tarzan in 1999. So I'll start them off. Was The Little Mermaid, The Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, Pocahontas, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan. On Rotten Tomato, the lowest one is Pocahontas.
That's the lowest rating?
Lowest rating at 54%.
Really?
Yeah.
Even Rescuers Down Under?
It's got 71.
Oh, wow.
It's tied with Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Pocahontas got a lot of negativity.
It gets
towards
hate.
It gets a lot of hate. I don't get the hate,
I don't get it.
but there's a lot of hate towards that movie.
I think it's so close to Lion King to where your team Lion King.
Oh.
well, I mean, and
yes,
there's
And it's an
There's
adult.
that
It's more of an
debate.
adult show, like movie.
Yeah.
right.
You don't see the kids going to the playground like savages, savages, believe in you, man. I wonder if they even bleed. It wasn't like one of those catchy songs
Right.
right. Singing on the playground.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna be a mighty king.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's a little different. All right.
All right. So let's go with our number 10 pick. What was your number 10 pick, Jackie?
Rescuers Down Under.
Japheth?
It's Tarzan.
Is it Tarzan? Is it
It's
Tarzan?
so
I
Tarzan.
hate Tarzan so much.
Tarzan.
Okay, mine was Rescuers as well. Let's talk about Rescuers first.
Yes,
What-
Rescuer's number 9 for me, so
Well,
it's
this
easy
is,
for me to.
This is
Right.
a sequel.
Right, and the history behind why this movie was made into a sequel was an Eisner decision prior to Little Mermaid being released. So, like, this is before Renaissance era had really begun. And so, like,
It feels like the oddball where it's like you
Eisner-
really don't belong with this
Eisner,
group.
Eisner was looking for something because the animation department was falling apart. If you guys want to watch a documentary on this era, watch Waking Sleeping Beauty. Fantastic
Oh,
documentary
yes.
on that.
That's great. I recommend it as well.
It really helps paint the picture of what's going on during this time period. But Eisner was like, they're like, what should we do? How should we go about it? It was like, well, what was our most successful movie in the last era? And it was The Rescuers.
Yeah.
And so it says, fine, we're going to do a sequel.
Thank goodness we didn't have Fox and the Hound was the best one. It can only take so much.
Well, there was a Fox and the Hound sequel.
Yes, but that was directed.
Yeah.
That was direct to VHS DVD. Yeah.
Right. But so yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like Dark Age animation
Yes.
storytelling. I think
I thought it was a step up
it
from
was
the storytelling.
I would agree. I would agree that was a step up, but it still felt that era.
Okay, so let's put it in that era. What were some of your top ones? Like mine
I
was
don't
The Great
remember.
Mouse Detective was up
Yeah.
there.
That was up there.
You have Oliver and Company.
Yeah.
That's another one from that era.
Yeah, The Rescuers.
The Rescuers, yeah, and you have like Winnie the Pooh.
Fox and the Hound.
I don't think Jungle Book was in that.
No,
No.
it wasn't. You got Black Cauldron.
Yes. So yeah, I think it would be at the top of that list.
It
for
would
sure.
be. I would agree
For
that
me.
it was definitely good. I think we all agree the highlight, the most exciting part is the intro, the music.
Oh, yeah.
Going through the outback, like that was
You
like
got more
Oh.
CGI.
Yeah.
that was like fun. Like the music was fun, and then it just kind of like falls off. But
You
it's
got John Candy.
right.
That was fun. I was like, oh, it's John Candy, you know? It's just the
Yeah.
80s comedian. He passed away shortly after.
He did. I did feel like the strong part were the characters. I thought the characters were really good.
Good villain.
Great villain.
Yeah.
You hated him.
Oh yeah, he was a great villain to hate on. And I felt like
Great
all
villain
the
sidekick.
yes,
Joanna. Yeah.
those are my eggs.
That's the best scene. It makes me laugh.
It's a hilarious scene.
It's a hilarious scene. If you just go on YouTube and just do Joanna
Like,
eggs,
I think it's just the characters are the redeeming quality of that movie, but I just feel like the story's a little weak,
it is flat. It's
Um,
a weak story.
and there's no music,
No.
and yeah, and that's what brings
That's
it
a
down.
trademark from that era.
Yes.
It's just like, just not strong, catchy
Yes.
songs.
And so I think that's why we all kind of agree that's where
It's not
down.
a movie that you were like, oh, I want to watch Rescuers Down Under over Beauty and the Beast. Like
It's true.
It's just
And truth be said, Rescuers is a worse movie than Tarzan for me, but I hate Phil Collins so much
that you put it there.
that I put it there.
I feel
Out
like
of principle.
I would say in general both Rescuer movies are just like forgotten.
Yes.
No one really remembers it.
Nobody has nostalgia over
I didn't
any
even
of
know
it.
there was an original one till I was like an adult. And I was like, there was one from the 70s?
Right.
And I watched it, I was like, I don't want to watch that again. Pass.
All right. So
My wife loves the original Rescuer film.
yeah, same with mine.
It's just
Really?
weird. Yeah, like our wives
And, like, and
connect
the-
on
yeah,
that. Like,
and
oh,
the-
it's such a great movie. And you're like, oh,
And
okay.
they're like, yeah, I love the opening song. What, that super depressing one? Rescue me. Like, oh, yeah. Ugh. No. Okay, number 9. Jackie, what was your number 9?
Tarzan.
Thank
And
you.
then And,
It's
and that was my number 9 as well.
it's a good I would say it's a good film, but there was something just off with it, I would say. But I can't put it what was off.
Phil Collins singing every single song.
No, NSYNC
Did we-
sang one.
I don't care. Didn't help. Did not make it better.
I enjoyed the story of Tarzan. And the thing is, like, all of these movies are good. Like, they're good quality movies.
No, you were saying you hate this
I
movie.
don't hate this movie. As a child, I loved Jane. I remember getting a
She's
Jane
adorable.
She is
Barbie doll,
She is
and
the
I loved it.
She is
You had the Barbie doll?
I
Yeah,
had the
she did.
Jane Barbie doll, and I
wow.
loved it.
She was definitely the highlight of that movie was Jane. I will
Yes.
agree. She was the best character
Yes.
out of everyone. The villain, I mean,
Clayton.
Clayton, right? I don't know. And Tarzan, I didn't
We've
really.
seen enough hunters. You know, we get a lot of
That's
hunters.
man,
I think
yeah.
There's Man.
think-
There's the villain from Rescuers.
Yeah.
There's Gaston. Boy, hunters. Disney does not like hunters.
Right.
No, hunters
No.
don't have a
Oh,
good
Fox and
rep.
the Hound.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like Jane and Tarzan's mom.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the best
I
characters.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
the beginning
The mom, yeah.
scene,
Yeah.
like, you
It's
cry.
heartwarming.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I felt like it was very pretty to look at. Like I think the animation was
Yes.
great. I remember watching the behind the scenes of like how they like studied surfers when studying how Tarzan
His leg
surfs
movements.
the trees and things like that. And
I would
like,
hate to see the calluses on Tarzan's
Oh
feet.
man,
Oh.
he's got some rough
would be
feet.
bad.
going
Jane's
on
like,
there.
oh, he's handsome. Don't look at his feet. You just see these gnarled like toes.
Yeah.
That was my thought. I was all like, I don't.
But I felt like all the like character wise, it was weak. I felt like their comic relief characters were
I thought it was
Yeah.
cheap comedy, like easy cheap comedy. It wasn't well thought out.
It's Roseanne. No, not Roseanne. It's
No, it's
Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell.
But you got to think at the time period. This came in 1999.
Rosalie O'Donnell was huge.
She was
She
big.
was big.
That type of comedy was kind of popular like that in kids' movies. So it's hard to compare Tarzan with these other great movies because I feel like Tarzan was just on growing on to the next generation.
It was the slope down. Because what do you get, like Treasure Planet,
Brother Bear.
Right.
Brother Bear? Like that's what. Oh yeah, stay tuned and listen to the experimental age, right? Yeah, it's kind of weak. And then the cartoon shows that came out afterwards were
That was
just
bad.
just.
That
I
was-
watched the cartoon.
I watched the
shows.
cartoon show. There was actually
You know what's good about it? There was no Phil Collins.
there was a good story arc in one of the in the TV show where they had Clayton's wife. She came and was like seeking revenge. Like that was actually like a cool story arc in the TV show.
I think as a kid, I watched the TV show more than the movie
Agreed.
when it came out.
Granted, like you watched the cartoon right before you went to school in the morning.
Well, our
'Cause
choice
that's
is on television, and we didn't have YouTube,
Right.
Right.
so
It
this was our
limited.
So, yeah. I mean, I think we just agree. It's just not there.
It's good, but like it wasn't up par with the others.
okay.
Tarzan is like he's the straight guy
Yeah.
in this, and you really have to have a funny crew.
And
Like
they
think of
weren't
Aladdin.
funny.
Aladdin is not funny.
No.
He isn't, and he's surrounded with funny characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is what's
Like
lacking.
if you weren't a straight character, you were a funny character in Aladdin.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and this just lacks that surrounding comedy, because like a scared annoying elephant's just not gonna do it
Correct.
unless it's a boo, and he does sounds like a monkey elephant.
Who doesn't love a monkey that's an elephant peeling a banana?
Ow, my eye!
All right, let's move on to number 8. What was your number 8?
Lion King.
Oh, whoa.
I have Lion King as 7.
Wow, okay.
Bunch of haters over here.
Look.
I had Pocahontas.
Oh.
Oh, Pocahontas is higher for me.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
That was actually,
about-
for me, like when I did my scoring, that one actually surprised
What
me.
was
how
yours,
low.
Peter? What's your number 8?
8 was Pocahontas.
Pocahontas. I'm Notre Dame.
Okay.
So what do we want to talk about?
I had Notre Dame next, so that's my.
What's your Notre Dame? Is it higher up
That
for you?
was number 7 for me.
Number 7. Let's go with Notre Dame
Yeah.
Let's
right
talk
now.
Notre Dame. Yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on Notre Dame?
It's a darker movie for sure.
Oh, big time.
I wouldn't say it's like an easy kid movie.
No, it's not.
It's not a child movie, but as an adult.
Come on, Jason Alexander as the gargoyle. Come on, Jerry.
Yeah, it's not easy for a child, but like as an adult, you really appreciate.
The music
The
is
music.
not kid music.
No.
It's definitely like
the Hellfire song.
Yeah.
all of them.
Was that one of the songs you weren't
Even,
allowed to
like,
listen
the
to
chord-
later?
the chord-
Topsy turvy.
Topsy Turvy, Court of Miracles.
Oh yeah, that's dark.
Like that's some dark themes, and like this one appeals more to the adult side of things, and so that's why I kind of pushed it above Pocahontas in my view. They scored the same for me, but I felt
The gut switched it.
I connect more with Hunchback than I do Pocahontas.
I agree. You do have his hunch,
Yeah,
and
I've
you
got-
do like
I've
bells.
got scoliosis. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in comparison to the other ones, it can't exceed higher. It's too dark.
Yes.
It wasn't. I remember watching it coming out of the movie. I'm going, well, okay, like that's what it was like.
I mean, from a kid, yeah, for sure. Like it's not.
Because we watch like it goes Lion King, then Pocahontas comes out, and then Notre Dame comes out, and then after that it's Hercules, and it's so easy. Like for me, like Hercules is such a great film.
Sure.
It just overshadows it,
Right.
in its memory.
Yeah, I mean, because again, we've already said this movie definitely appeals more towards the adults than it does the children.
you're
There's no likable character so much for children to latch onto besides what, the goat
Yeah.
and the
Yeah,
gargoyles, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's all.
No
the
kids going like, I want the Quasimodo toy for Christmas.
Right. I want the Favo character. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't even pronounce his name. Phoebus is
Yeah.
his name.
But
Yes.
like going back and watching as an adult, you're just like, wow, you can appreciate the effort that went into
And
that movie.
There's more emotion that I get from that movie than
Correct.
probably any other movie because of the music.
Yes.
yeah.
It's so powerful. It hits the soul, and it's just like it's.
And honestly, we should just change the name of this era just to call it the Alan Menken era.
Yeah.
'Cause,
It
like,
really is.
He wrote most of the
Everything,
music.
yeah.
Most.
He wrote your childhood if
Yes,
you're a
he did.
millennial kid.
Absolutely. He wrote most of the music that we listen to. So, yeah. I mean, and I felt like the animation was really good. Like I remember
Yes.
it's a very artistic. The stained glass was very beautifully animated. Like it really felt like it was real stained glass.
If you go to I went to Notre Dame before it caught on fire. It was one of the coolest things I'd ever experienced in one of the many buildings. You go on a trip to Europe. I remember going in there and they had purple lights, and it's just you're flooded with just the beauty and the history of that building, and just watch the cartoon and then be in the place. As I was going up the tower, I whispered to my wife, "These are the walls that Quasimodo touched." Can you believe it? My wife would just she gave me a look like, "Shut up, you imbecile! You're embarrassing me." And I'd be like, "No, I'm not." As I hunch back.
As you're reenacting Quasimodo.
I was they're like, "Are there any questions?" And I'd raise my hand. My wife's like, "No."
you're like,
Where are the bells? Bells.
Where's Jason Alexander's
are
gargoyle?
there carvings of the townspeople?
Those are the figurines of Quasimodo. No, it was one of the coolest places to go up to the tower to get a view of Paris, because most of Paris has a height limit for their the proper area, and so once you get up to the bell tower, you could see the Eiffel Tower, the Sacre. It's just beautiful, So if you do go, it's great.
You
Just
can tell the animators,
table the hunchback jokes.
You can tell the animators did their homework when it came
Yes.
to animating this movie.
Oh yeah. Where do we want to go? Oh, let's go to Paris.
Maybe.
Well, and I also feel like, all of these movies, the Renaissance movies, they kind of copy and paste the formula, and I feel like Hunchback, they try to do something a little different.
Yes.
Yes, they went dark.
And I appreciated it.
That's why I put it a little higher.
Yeah.
You
some
were
of the
thinking,
others.
Your adult,
As
the
an
emotional
adult,
side.
I was
really
looking
got
at it from because again, as I scored them, it scored the same to me as Pocahontas, and so I had to go off of my gut. My gut said Hunch was better than Poke.
For Pocahontas, I'm more inclined to watch it because I think it's happier
Sure.
as opposed to a
Yes.
more human, fiction story.
I think
it's like, let's watch Schindler's List. It's like, whoa, it can be heavy for the
think-
soul to watch a show.
I think Pocahontas is probably the most beautiful of the Renaissance movies.
I think it's one of the most beautiful movies Disney's done. It's up there with Sleeping Beauty.
It is a gorgeous movie. Like I
Yeah.
gave it.
Have we moved on
Yeah,
to
we're moving on to
Okay.
We're moving on to
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
Yeah.
I gave it like a 5 out of 5 for its animation style. It is gorgeous.
Yes.
And in the animators, and if you watch that documentary, they talk about how they thought that Pocahontas was going to be the next big thing. And then they're like, well, we got to release a movie before
to
that.
some
We'll do
people.
this Lion movie, and we'll see about that. And, and Lion King totally outpaced, Pocahontas. But
Hamlet
but
always
if
wins.
if you look at the art of Pocahontas. It is
way
gorgeous.
better.
Like you can tell love went into this movie when they animated it. Now the other aspects of it, I felt the story was a little
It's historical,
yeah.
and if you know the story, it's
not
gonna go
the
in one
greatest
direction.
story.
Well, it's funny because like because my kids were watching Pocahontas last night because it's November and my wife's like, let's watch Pocahontas.
It's Thanksgiving.
And so she asked,
is it an unofficial Thanksgiving
pretty
film?
much. And so
Mine's the Addams Family, where they reenact
There
the
you
turkey
go.
meal and they fight back.
oh, that was great. That's a good one.
That's
Um,
recommend.
But she asked me, she goes, was Ratcliffe a real person? I'm like, I don't know. And so I looked it up, and it actually, historically, it looks like he was actually a good guy. He actually treated the Native Americans very kindly. They did not treat him very kindly. He ended up having his skin peeled.
Wow, that could be really expensive to get a face peel these days. So that was very kind of them to do that. They are ahead of their time,
and then-
and their generosity is.
And then
like
John
leaps and
Smith,
bounds.
he's portrayed as this good guy, but he was actually a really not a
What,
good
he
guy.
kidnaps a
historically.
14-year-old and no.
Right.
no, it's the other guy.
Yeah, that was John Rolfe.
Well,
John
a
Rolfe,
lot of
yeah.
people feel like betrayed by Disney, and they're like, "You told the Pocahontas story completely wrong," and it's just
There are a
like,
lot of stories told wrong. Or
Yes.
Cinderella, where he like tortures the.
yes,
Or the stepsister that cuts her toe off so it'll fit in the slipper.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories that are Disney-fied.
Right. But yeah, I just felt the story. It's not as impactful as some of the other ones. I
I
felt
don't know.
it fall
I feel
a little
like
short.
there
on
was
that.
a time because there were girls like my age that had the Pocahontas sheets,
The Pocahontas sheets, the toys.
the toys. Like I remember Pocahontas like as a big impact as a girl.
I still remember the promotional
At the mall?
At the mall,
Yeah, they had it like an exhibit where he's like
It-
Mother
it-
Willow was there.
Yeah, mm-hmm. It was
Grandmother
like
Willow.
it was like this it felt like a maze inside the mall.
It was really.
It
like,
wasn't.
It was like a 10 by 10 square.
Yeah, but it felt like a maze.
It was
as
a queue.
kid.
They made you go through a queue.
Yes, they did.
I just remember Pocahontas being a bigger impact in my life than
Sure.
like Lion King.
I remember Pocahontas. I remember where we saw it at the Seneca Capri, big theater. I remember the promotionals with the cups, Burger King.
Right.
I just remember enjoying it more than Lion King.
Yes.
Yeah, I just enjoyed it. I like the characters. I like Miko. I like Flick. I didn't care for much for Percy and the
Right.
assistant to to Governor Ratcliffe.
Right.
But
I mean, Pocahontas has like one of the best songs, "Colors of the Wind."
Right.
Yes.
There's like
I
a
think of
couple-
that the
there's-
song of the queue. Remember we had that battle,
Oh.
and you're like, "I want Pocahontas with the colors of the wind blowing."
I just felt like all the other songs fall flat.
Oh, I
for
like
that-
the
for
intro.
movie.
The intro's got like,
I-
or like dig, dig,
Yeah.
and Savages. That's I sing that
Yeah,
every
but-
day at rope drop when the guests were coming in. They were singing the like, "Let us run," and we're all like, "Savages, savages, don't even listen."
Right. I just feel like the songs were not. I mean, yes,
I can agree with your point.
Like
It's weaker.
It's weaker compared to the other movies.
I would say
music-wise.
Lion King music was stronger than Pocahontas.
Agreed.
Overall,
Yes.
but the story of Lion King lacked for me.
All right.
Are we going to Lion King? I think.
Well, what was because
Lion King 7 for me.
Okay. I've already gone through my all the way to 7. I'm down to 6.
6 is Mulan for me.
That's my 6. Is Mulan.
Do we want to talk about Mulan before Lion King, or we want to talk about Lion King and then go
I
to
had
Mulan?
Mulan higher, but
But you had Lion
I
King.
rank
really
Lion
bad.
King
We probably have
lower.
Lion King a little higher.
I have Lion King at 7.
Lion King at 7.
Pocahontas was my number 5.
Oh,
I had
gotcha.
Pocahontas
You had
higher, but you guys were. I was like, let's just talk about Pocahontas.
Pocahontas was 6.
It's higher because of how pretty it is. I like the story.
So let's do Lion King. Let's
Yeah.
talk Lion
Let's
King. 'cause
talk
you guys
Lion
had
King.
it had it
We
lower.
had it on the lower half. Yeah.
I don't know. This is a great debate between me
Lion King was 5
and my
for me.
friend.
Okay,
the
so
way.
we're all like jumbling
Mine-
our
mine
middle.
was
It's
5.
mid range for us, for everybody.
So this has been Lion King is a great debate between me and my friend Sarah. Shout out to you if you're listening.
Love you, Sarah.
She's gonna say something, be like,
Oh,
"How dare you
she
hate
is.
Lion King?
She
It's number one."
loves Lion King. Like that's
That's my
number
Muppet
one for
vision-
her.
My Muppet
But-
voice for Sarah. You like that, Sarah?
Stop. But for me, like I will listen to the music on my own, like on my MP3 player or whatever. But I will not watch the movie. I just am not entertained by the movie.
Really?
Are you not entertained?
I
Yeah,
was
no.
I was surprised of how well I ranked it, how well it performed amongst the rest for me. This one was one of the surprises for me because I actually thought I didn't like this one as much, but I mean I feel the story is really good. I feel the characters are good. I feel the music's really good. Like all the music.
I just hate Simba. Like, I don't like Simba until the very end of the movie where he
Well,
actually
sure,
does what he's
sure.
supposed to
Yeah.
do.
I get that.
He just runs away and he just like, and then he just hides.
But I mean, you got, I think Scar's a fantastic
Great
villain.
villain.
You've got Mufasa, Timon and Pumbaa are the great comic reliefs.
I didn't like Rafiki. I thought he was mean.
I loved Rafiki.
He was hitting people and like,
I thought he was fun. I think this movie, for me, I think it does do a good job of like hitting home for most people. I think.
Yeah,
I
it'll
think this.
make
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah. It's for
cry.
everybody.
This movie is for everyone.
It's Shakespeare. It's
Yeah.
Hamlet.
Right. And so that's why I felt like that, and that's what kind of pushed things up. I felt, I think on the weekend, it's one of the weakest on the animation scale.
Yeah.
It didn't get the.
It didn't get the love. All the love went to Pocahontas.
But it doesn't.
It
I can't
didn't
imagine
need
it with
it.
better animation. It did it. They finished it. It's a good finished product for its story.
Yes.
Sure.
I can't imagine it with a Pocahontas like filter.
Art.
That would
yeah.
be weird.
Well, I mean,
It'd be
it's a
hard to
different-
imagine.
It's a different thing. It's like saying the
It's like-
101 Dalmatian art style compared to Sleeping Beauty. You can't compare the two because it's two different art styles.
They are two different art styles, but you could see like with the second movie that comes out for
Sure.
Pocahontas, it's like Lion King style right there.
Sure.
And Lion King style is the same, like Lion King 1 and Lion King 2 or 2.5 or whatever, 3 and 3/4. They all look. It looks the same.
Sure.
And so it's kind of seamless for those movies.
Yeah.
But you know, my I think my brother-in-law, he gives me a hard time about having Lion King low on the list. So
I think
that I don't think
know if
highly
it's
of it. But
just
apparently
our
I do.
family. Our family just didn't get into
I don't
Lion
like
King.
animals talking,
And maybe that's a
except
part
for
of it.
like Baloo.
was the
Baloo's the only
animals.
one that gets a pass.
What about Robin Hood? I thought you liked Robin Hood.
Baloo. Baloo's in there.
Right, Baloo's in there. Gotcha.
And maybe it was the animals' perspective, but as a kid, I just wasn't like jumping to watch this movie. And as an adult, like I tried to start watching the live action and I stopped it
Oh,
immediately.
no.
Live action. No, that's going to be a separate discussion when we talk about these live action movies. No.
I thought we did.
We might have. I
We
don't
did
know.
do live action.
I think we talked about like the ones we
So-
liked. So I guess we did already.
Yeah, we
have
did
this
do that. Yeah,
It's hard to keep track. We've been doing this for like 3 years, so
that's it.
still only 20 of you listening.
Should we talk about Mulan?
No,
I have Mulan as 6,
that was my 6.
I have a 5.
and I think it's in that mid range.
Yeah.
It's
It's
tough to
good.
crack that top group.
These are all good movies. But Mulan for me just hit a little bit I think my generation more.
It got to be, what age are you at
yeah,
this
I
time?
mean I was like
You're at a good age.
6.
You're at a good
5,
Disney
And
age.
it's
Yeah.
and it's a good girl movie.
Right.
It's a
a
powerful.
warrior film. You got like Christina Aguilera singing the main song.
Reflection. I'm a
genie in a bottle.
Oh wait, wrong movie. Wrong song.
As an adult now watching Mulan, it touches me way more because I have
You have a daughter now. Yep.
I have daughters. It's plural
Daughters,
now.
yep.
And so like I see the father's like I put myself in the father's role now, and it's touching. You know, in its own way. And, you know, I served in the military, and I kind of get like, you know, where he's coming from. And so, yeah, it may have bumped up higher now as an adult than I would have in the past.
Prior.
Yeah, I think so for me.
I think the characters are really good. I think there's not too many that I'm kind of like meh about. I mean,
I love the grandma. Sign me up for the next war.
I mean, I thought, yeah, the characters
Emperor
are
was
great.
funny. Like, I love the Emperor's humor, like at the very end, where he's all like, "You can have his job." A girl
But
like
sir.
that, a girl does not come around like that every dynasty. Love that. It's great.
Yeah, you got
I thought the
Mr.
story-
Miyagi. He was the
Yes.
voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the story was written well. The characters were picked well. I mean, you got good music too.
Mine Own Reflection is a beautiful song.
Absolutely.
It's like a coming of age. It's like it's one of those songs you listen to as a kid. You're like, all right, but when you hit a teenager, you're like, oh my gosh, she's speaking about me. And
Right.
it's like it's everybody.
Correct.
And it's a transcending, you know, song.
You've got the classic Donny Osmond song. I'll make a man out of you.
My wife had no clue, and I'm all like, nothing more manly than Donny Osmond. And she's like, who's Donny Osmond? And I put on White Nerdy and him dancing around going, that's him right there. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't think of this song the same way.
Yeah. Yep. That's him.
But like everyone recognizes that song.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
super popular.
Anybody says, let's get down to business. And I'll be like, to defeat the Hun.
As you're doing like hand movements.
As every Generation X or Boomer's like, what are you doing with your arms? And I'm all like, I'm punching the ground. I'm
Punching Huns.
I'm defeating the Hun. They're like, please stop. This is a professional work environment. It's like, I didn't know this establishment was pro-Hun. Okay.
I mean, everyone loves the part of the Mulan singing that part.
Yeah. Hope it doesn't find me. Or
Yeah. Hope
Was
you
it-
see right through me.
It's like, well, if you sing in soprano, yes, they're going to find you. Yeah, that always is a joke in my house.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a solid, good movie.
Yep.
Weakest point for me is probably Mushu. It's Eddie Murphy for me.
Yeah, you're not a
much Eddie
big
Murphy,
no
huh?
Phil Collins.
It's like Phil
no
Collins
Eddie
is the lowest,
Murphy.
and then like Eddie Murphy's right there. He's just been he keeps falling. Like that's why I don't like Shrek. I don't like
Oh, 'cause
Donkey.
The donkey.
He's just too much. No.
Okay. All right.
Things that Japheth doesn't like. Phil Collins and Eddie Murphy. Want to ruin his day, have them show up on his porch at the same time. Be like, no!
Can you imagine a Phil Collins Eddie
Murphy combo.
song?
I don't, because that sounds like misery. The devil's all like, all right, note for self. When he comes here.
All right. Now we're getting to our top fives here.
Yeah, I mean, all of these are good movies. Solid.
So what's your next one that we haven't discussed yet?
I have Aladdin.
That's your next lowest?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because we're already done through the 5. Like, all I have
I'm
is...
at 4. Top
we
4.
have top 4 right now. We've discussed
Oh, did we
everything.
just... Yeah, we discussed Lion King.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
we
at-
have... What we have left is Hercules, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is top 4. This is like creme de la creme.
It is. And this was the hardest part
It was.
for me.
Absolutely.
I was like, oh, well, Hercules wasn't hard. It was hard. Like,
was the other ones.
where is everything else
Right.
here? Because I've watched Little Mermaid a million times now, and I've watched Beauty and the Beast a million times, and Aladdin has been put down on the bench
Right.
because I got little girls that are like, and Aladdin is a boy movie.
Yeah.
So you want to talk Aladdin right now?
Let's talk Aladdin.
Because it sounds like that was your 4.
Actually, Little Mermaid's number 4.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, let's talk Aladdin. We're talking
Yeah.
Aladdin. Aladdin was my number 2.
Oh.
Number 2. Okay.
So
What's yours? What's
4.
Aladdin? 4.
A boy movie.
It's a boy movie.
It is. I just felt this one scored. This one had a perfect scores for me.
Well, you connect, I feel like, to Aladdin's. Like, you like the music.
I like the video game.
I love the video game.
Oh,
the video
yeah.
game was
I
awesome.
remember
I
the
can
video
never get
game.
past like the lava,
Oh, right.
the Cave of
right.
Wonder.
That's a hard one. Being
Was
chased
that on
by
the
boulder.
Sega?
Sega. There was also
There was there's no like replay.
There was a Super Nintendo one that wasn't very good, but that might be a controversial statement that people might.
Nothing
attack
better
me
than
on.
throwing apples.
That's always a big debate. Is like which one was better, Super Nintendo or Genesis? Genesis was better. You got a sword.
We got a sword. You fool, we all have swords.
No, I mean like yeah, I think the music is top notch. I can't think of a dud song in the movie. I think it was
The Jasmine song was pretty weak.
well, that wasn't in the
That
animated
was the
movie.
live action.
No, like I thought she had like a little song
No.
like when
No.
she's in the garden. No.
No, well, I mean that was a deleted song.
Oh,
The-
okay.
The Pretty Bird song.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, that was deleted. But no, I felt like the music was good. I felt the animation was still top notch.
The computer animation doesn't hold up as much now when you get in the Cave of Wonder and you're doing the escape scene.
Sure.
That's the part where I'm going, whoa, I'm back on a laser disc and it's rainy day schedule. Whoa.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there was
It
definitely
happens.
it happens. That happens with time, and so I didn't negatively credit that for that reason because I get that way with like Beauty and the Beast. You get that way with in the ballroom. Like you look at that ballroom scene, it's like
Oh, I still like that scene.
it's
like,
still
a
really
lot.
good.
It's
Don't
better
get me
than the
wrong.
Cave of Wonder
I
scene.
agree, it is.
Yeah.
But you still it's still like you can still tell that's like CGI
Yeah.
ballroom. But
It's fun to watch these movies and be like, oh, there's the CGI. I
Right.
see you.
right.
You're hiding in the scene.
But no, I think all the characters are top notch. Aladdin's probably the flat note.
You like Iago?
I actually thought
Iago was great.
I
He
thought
was a
Carpet
great-
was a little flat for me. But sorry, I'm just rolling here. you know?
right. But yeah, I mean, I just felt it was good. That there's not too much negative that I have with it.
No.
Jafar is such a good.
He's a great villain.
He's like a top 5 villain for me.
absolutely.
He just nails it. And
Yeah.
and he's got a good partner. And I think that was the downfall of the live action. We discussed this.
correct.
Iago sucked.
Yep.
And Abu and Aladdin had no funny around him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's what.
Because like you look at Aladdin, if you weren't the straight person, you were the funny person.
Yeah.
Every single one. There was no like random character. It was always like you were either funny or you were serious, and that was Aladdin, Jasmine, Jafar.
Yeah.
Those were the only serious people in the movie. Everyone else was comedic relief.
I thought Jafar was pretty funny.
He is.
In his
Prince-
own way.
Prince Abobo.
He's funny the same way Aladdin is funny. Like Aladdin has these little subtle
He's
jabs,
like
oh,
charmingly
yeah.
funny.
Right, but he's not like comedic funny
No.
like the other characters.
He's
are.
no
In
genie.
comparison, no, he's no Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Robin Williams, this is
Honestly, Robin Williams made that movie.
Absolutely.
If you didn't have Robin Williams, Aladdin probably wouldn't have done good.
yeah. Because
I
you
agree.
see that in the second movie, Return of Jafar, and you're like, it's not Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And like we watched the cartoon, and you got like Return of Jafar genie, and it was fine,
Right.
Because it's like, hey, it's an afternoon cartoon, like I can deal
Yeah.
with this, but it's not Robin Williams.
Right.
It's really hard.
Yeah. And
It's hard to emulate that.
I think that's why I put it lower, is just because the movie really relied on Genie
For the comedic
for
relief. Sure.
for it to be.
Well,
Granted,
it's kind of hard to out comic Robin Williams.
Yes.
And that's why I had a hard time going, how are you going to do the Aladdin live when you've got such a great
Yes.
character done by Robin Williams? We're like, that's bold. It's like, let's do a remake of the original Star Wars A New Hope. You're going to be like, what are you doing? Like, it was good. Why do you need
to do
why
it?
do you need to do a remake of this if it's a classic?
Right.
And for me and the millennial group, I think it's just that classic.
Yeah.
But just like, I'm sorry, I'm just milking the cash cow right here.
Not anymore. That milk, that cow's running dry.
It's gone sour.
Yeah.
So, I mean, great movie. Obviously, it hit our top 5,
Yes,
so it's in
solid.
that spectrum. So what's your? Let's see here. What do we want to talk about next?
We can talk about any movie. It doesn't matter. I think it's
Let's
I
go.
think we're
Little
good.
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid was number 4.
It's number 2 for me.
3 for me.
Okay.
For me, it was ranked higher because honestly, as a child, I'd probably rank it number 1. I loved Little Mermaid. That was a movie I watched all the time. That one and the sequel I watched all the time.
You like the second one?
Yeah, I did. As a
With Melody?
child. Well, because I remember Father Yoder got it for me on a way to a camping trip. This is when we had the
Aw.
minivan.
When
We were rolling
That the-
deep with like a little TV.
We had a little VHS TV in there, and he got it, and I would just watch it over and over, and so I just have very fond memories of the Little Mermaid.
I just remember throwing up in the car watching it, but that's because I got motion sickness. I don't know if it's
Yep.
the movie or
Well,
if
it's
the motion
because
sickness.
I learned this. It's about looking down, and our TV was down.
Yes.
So so now when they do TVs, it's always up or right in front of you, so you don't look down. If you look down, you'll get car sick.
That's a really good tip. Thank you.
Um,
4 decades
I
later.
know, right?
but I mean, I loved Little Mermaid. I love the music. I love the story. Like, it gives you that, like, princess, like, magical fever.
It's what started it all. Like this.
It's what put Disney back on the spot, on all fronts, on the entire company front. Like, this movie revived everything. Like, Disney animation almost left if this movie didn't happen.
Yeah.
They talk about like, yeah, they went to the trailer for and it's like that's the Disney studio.
Right? It was
like
like
for this
it was a little.
with Mencken, not Mencken, the other.
Yeah, this movie changed history, and so, yeah, it has a special place
I didn't
in my
say
heart.
changed history; it made history.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
The Little Mermaid went back in time with Doc Brown
Well,
to get
Ariel, you gotta come back with me.
Ariel had to go to the enchanted under the sea dance to get her dad. Sorry, let's go back.
well, Little Mermaid created the I Want songs.
Yeah,
It created the Disney formula.
it did.
And it's good. I watch it and I enjoy it. You know, I love the French chef.
That was a
yes.
good comic
so
relief
funny for
segment.
me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the music. I feel if I had to knock something, I would probably say the story is probably the weaker aspect of everything else. But again,
It didn't need a strong story. It had the strong music.
it's still my top 3.
Yeah.
So that being said, it's still.
I thought the story's good.
It is. It is.
You have a problem. You have the naive, teenager rebelling against dad.
Yeah.
Like, you can't date him.
But I love
him. I saw him on a boat once. He's amazing. I want to walk. I bet up there they'll never be mean to their daughters. It just shows you that naive teenager
Yeah.
that gets in trouble, and like you have the reckless, I'm king of the sea, and I'll just sacrifice my whole kingdom, like to a sea witch to save my dumb daughter,
Right.
I think very highly of King Triton here, right? No, it's a good lesson in story, like there's,
Sure.
careful people giving you everything you want, You know,
Yes.
they'll entrap you and steal and
Nothing's really free, or nothing's never really given to you without a catch.
Yep.
And you have a great villain, Ursula.
She
That
was
voice.
fantastic.
Oh, amazing.
body language.
Yes.
Huh. That was so
I mean, that's a villain.
good.
You see Ursula and you're like, I'm going to walk the other way.
She was great. So good. Even on the ride, you see her and you smile like she's that good or she's that bad, you
Yes.
know, like great villain.
Yes.
Is she an octopus or is she a squid?
I thought she was a squid.
I think she's a squid because I think she only has 7 legs
Yeah.
or arms or
Tentacles?
tentacles.
She's a great person to do charades with.
Yeah. Yeah, we have this like when people do like Disney charades.
I created
just-
the synonymous how you do Ursula, and it's just basically
Waving your arms.
waving your arms at different points as if you have multiple arms. I think at first you guys were like, "What?" And then you saw what it was, like, "Oh, I get it."
And after
now."
that,
That's Ursula. That's how
it's-
you do Ursula. You move
Yeah.
your arms in different positions.
it's
Yeah.
the gimme points right there. It's a freebie.
Yeah, it is. Yep. All right, what are we down to?
We have Beauty and the Beast
and Hercules.
And Hercules.
You want to talk about Hercules first?
I love it.
Let's do Hercules.
I think I've mentioned it 20 times already this
Hercules
episode.
is my number one.
Oh,
Number
well then
one.
let's talk about Beauty and the Beast. 'cause
Okay.
that was my number one.
Oh.
So
Sweet.
you guys were in the majority. So we'll do Hercules last.
Beauty and the Beast is a great movie.
We are the majority, Peter.
You are the majority.
Beauty and the Beast is a fantastic movie.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I mean, most girls, when you say what's your favorite
I'll
princess,
say Belle.
it's Belle.
She's the most
Especially if you're a
relatable.
brunette.
She is the brunette.
She is the princess that is a brunette.
Because all brunettes are snobbish about the town that they live in
No.
and hate the people.
The
that they
perfect.
live-
As an adult watching Belle, going, you're not a very likable person. Like you don't look like the Beast is mad at you because you didn't listen to him. He's all like, you can go on the palace, but don't go on the west. Like, what's in the West Wing? Say all right. Like he's pretty firm on his boundary right there. What
Right.
does she do? Let me cross the boundary and go in there, invade your personal space. I'm gonna yell at you
But
because
yet, she's a capture. She's going to do what she needs to do to survive.
which is
What-
to go into the West Wing.
Go
when
to
the
the place
Beast goes
that
like,
the Beast said, "Don't go here.
don't go
ever."
here, right?
Well, yeah, but maybe a key's there to leave, or you don't
On
know.
your first night. That's
Well,
what I've
you're
been captured
also-
by my enemies. I'm just gonna go wander
You're
around.
also
their
introduced
hideout.
to like objects that are moving and talking. You're like, what is this
Yeah,
place?
and they're warning me. Don't go there.
Let's not go there. Yeah. It's a bad place. They'll go there.
But also, Belle was known as the smart princess.
She is. She's
She
book
read
smart.
books.
Book smart.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of
Hey, she can maneuver that
People-
street pretty well too.
Yeah.
She knows when to like flip that sign.
She's what's his name? Hubie Halloween.
Hubie Halloween. I don't want to talk about Hubie Halloween.
okay.
Jackie's like, move on.
That's a step too far from Waterboy.
Let's go with
Nah.
let's go with Gaston. He is so good. His
Oh, yes.
voice,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
the best singing voice ever
For
Yeah.
for a villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or maybe even for a male. I don't know. I can't. It's hard for me to think of another male
Like,
voice
if you
that
can't
sings so well.
Like his voice is the epitome of what a man sounds like.
Yes. Like if you think like if you're
Like
a
a
man
grizzly-
and you
You're
had to,
like,
and-
Like a
talk
grizzly
like a man. You
man.
start talking like Gaston.
yes.
Yeah.
He is your atypical like if a manly man is going to sing, he's going to sing like
Yes.
Gaston.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He embodies masculine very well, and his song is really catchy.
Oh yes, like all the songs are super catchy, and like anytime they come up on my playlist, I'm singing along. I think all the characters are
It's
so
solid.
great. Like there's really not any weak characters among them.
No.
Yeah, I mean the dad's probably the weakest character in my mind.
Yeah. He's a side
He's
character,
he's
though.
the weakest character.
Yeah.
and
But that's a lot to say on all the characters
right.
in that
And
movie.
there's a lot of characters, and the fact that they balance that story
With so many
characters in comedy and
Because like if you want to list off like who you consider kind of the main cast, it's like Belle, Beast are the mains, and then your subs are Belle, Beast, and Gaston. Those are the mains.
yeah,
And then the subs, it's like Lumiere, Cogsworth, Mrs. Potts, Chip, the
LeFou.
dad, LeFou.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many.
LeFou's such a good sidekick, and like, oh,
He's a good lackey.
It's the chemistry between LeFou and Cogsworth. Great chemistry together.
With
Yes.
being the sidekick. My favorite thing to do with watching this film, since it's got like limited like animation money, watch like during the songs the background characters. They do the same
Oh, yes.
motions.
Yeah.
Like you'll see the triplets and they just do this like waving motion when Gaston's singing. It's funny. Because when you watch the movie so many times, you're like, I need to watch something else.
you should-
Let me pick this
I
one
watched-
thing to look at, and
So,
it's funny.
It's funny you pointed it out because I watched this YouTube show, and they do like reacts to they do a lot of like CG work for movies and things like that.
Yeah.
So they
did they
react,
rework that?
they did an episode on like animation, and so they had an animator from Beauty and the Beast on their show, and they talked about that specific thing, and he goes, yeah, like they were asking us to have all these characters having individual motions in this giant scene. It was a nightmare to do, and so that's why you see these like subtle movements of like
They're the
back and forth because there's so much going on in the scene that
So they
that
turn
scene
them
was
into Tusken
so-
Raiders, where they go back and forth, like
Pretty much. Pretty
you know,
much.
they just reverse back and forth.
Yeah.
The same scene. Yeah, it's funny. Watch it and like just watch the little characters in the town, and you'll kind of get a laugh at it.
Yeah.
yeah. I think the worst thing about Beauty and the Beast for me is I've seen it so many times.
You think you've seen it enough? You think you have,
right?
and then
You have a kid
you
and
just watch it a million.
watch
And you're like, it because of my daughter, I actually appreciate it more. I probably would have rated it lower before my daughter.
Right.
But now since I had the experience of watching it a million times, I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. No, it's beautiful. There's a reason why it was nominated for Best Picture when it came out.
When there was only like 4 films,
Something like that.
and there wasn't an animation film. Like this was
yeah.
Best Picture. I think when it gets like what Silence of the Lambs or something like that, and
yeah.
another like Pulp Fiction. It was like that year where you're like, boy, you're in some dark company right there.
I
And
know,
then
right?
you have Beauty and the Beast, and you're like, wow, a breath of fresh air.
It was a masterpiece of a film, and it's one of those things that you strike lightning in a bottle with Little Mermaid, and you just refine it with Beauty and the Beast. I feel
Like I just felt that Beauty and the Beast encompasses what Disney animation is all about.
Yeah.
That movie alone. A lot they tried to say that like Princess and the Frog was like that when they made that movie, but I'm like, no, Beauty and the Beast is the movie that represents what Disney animation is. I think that that was a tribute to all that had come before and to what came after.
I think it's a master class. If you had to pick one movie to be a master class of what you said, Disney film, like this is what Disney is about and what they do with princess movies, boom,
That's it.
you nailed it.
Yeah.
And with Princess and the Frog, I think that's the last example of like how to do that era
Right.
of animation.
Yeah.
And it is like, hey, we left on a good note. Now it's new age.
Yes. That was Princess and the Frog was more of the tribute than the example.
It's like, hey, this is what we did with this art style.
Right.
Bye-bye. We're done. Move on. And you get Frozen. Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. Hercules. Hercules.
It's funny that like
That was
we
my
all
number 4.
ranked it
That was my
higher.
number 4.
Yeah. The music is so
Music's
solid.
good. I think my only issue is that for the most part, it's just the muses, and I wish other characters had a chance to sing. Like
Well,
you
you
had Meg.
wanna be a hero, kid? Well, whoop-de-doo.
That's not a highlight song. I'm just saying.
I Can Go the Distance.
Michael Bolton.
This is the tale.
I'm Captain Jack. Oh, sorry, wrong movie.
Wrong movie.
Wrong
yeah.
movie.
No Chance, No Way. I won't say I'm in love.
But again, that's music.
The muses are back up
that's
there.
True.
I mean, the Hercules, like Hercules. I mean, it's
They're great
It was
songs.
a grand transition song of like being a rookie, and then like
Yeah.
they used that song, and now we've moved forward in time.
Yes.
That was
It's a great
beautifully done.
It was a great
without dragging it
transition
on.
song. It's
And
a great
you got
transition.
so many battles, and you progress the story.
Yes.
I think why I ranked it higher, I think Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin are better overall with Hercules, but I chose Hercules as number one because I could watch that movie a billion times
And I think so,
not
too.
get tired of it.
It's one of those like it's on. I'm gonna sit down and watch
I'm gonna
it.
sit and watch it.
I couldn't
can't
tell you
s-
the last time I sat down and watched it. That's why I kind of ranked lower because I don't know the last time I watched it.
What did you rank it?
4.
You ranked it 4. I thought it was at 1. Okay, for you. No, okay, 4. Yeah, it just my daughter went through a period of watching it, and every time I watched it, and I was like, I don't get tired of it.
Yeah.
I am not tired of this. I am laughing still throughout.
Yeah.
I love Hades. Great comedy.
He's a great like comedy villain.
Yeah, and he signed a contract with Disney going, he's the only Hades.
Only one who could do Hades.
That's awesome.
so like he
though.
did it for the TV show and like and he does
And
it for the
I
video games.
I loved the TV show.
That's great.
He
Oh,
does it for Kingdom Hearts.
the TV show is great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched it on Disney Plus, and I'm like, these are like really bad quality.
Oh,
But I like
the
the
animation
story.
was really bad on
Yes.
that TV show. The animation for the TV show was really bad.
Especially on our TVs now.
Yeah, I think you have to watch it on.
You need to watch it on like
tube,
a smaller tube TV.
and then you'd be like, why did we watch TV this way? How primitive were we? Hercules, yeah, he's the not really funny guy, but he's surrounded by funny. You have
He's-
Pain and Panic around.
Me and my wife agree. He is the picture perfect, like the guy that all girls want is Hercules.
Is he?
I don't know about
Well, what's your view? You are a female.
that. Okay.
What is Hercules? Of the Disney princes, who is the ideal man for Jackie? Besides your husband. He's number
Right.
one. Like,
That's a hard question. I gotta think about this.
Yeah. So like me and my wife, we had this discussion. We're like, we thought Hercules has the whole package. He's like honest. He's dedicated to the person that he's in love with. Like he has the opportunity to be with anyone, and he chooses to be with Megara.
Yeah, but he's also
Even with Megara's flaws, because Megara, she has some flaws.
well, his fault is that he's like that clumsy,
He's
get
naive.
in the way, making more trouble than helping kind of benefit.
Yeah.
When he was younger, sure.
Even when he's older, like he gets distracted and clumsy
he's nervous.
and nervous.
But this is before his zero to hero.
Even when
moment
he's a
where he
hero,
grows.
he's a little clumsy and a little naive. Like,
Where he's trying to help, but it's not helping.
I think that's where Jackie's coming from on that.
In
yeah.
what way? Can you give me an example?
Like when he's like trying to prove that he's a hero, right?
Okay.
And it's that first like snake battle or
Sure.
whatnot.
The Hydra fight.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, at the end he figured it out, but like he wasn't really helping the townspeople at first, and that was like annoying at the same time. And he kind of created a bigger problem. He fixed the problem, but he did create the bigger problem.
So what Hercules needs to do is he needs to listen
He
and
nee-
not try
he
to
needs-
solve the
yes.
problems. Have you seen the video of the nail? There's a YouTube video where there's a woman with a nail in her head, and she's like, my head hurts. And her husband's like, well, you got a nail in your head. It's not about the nail. I need you to listen to me. It hurts. I don't need you to solve my problems. And I think that's where Jackie's going is
Gotcha.
she doesn't want Hercules jumps in without like thinking
Okay.
about the problem.
Okay.
And that's not a redeemable trait.
Yeah.
Boy, we're getting into
Even-
like relationship, like
even sacrificing your life to save the one that you love.
That was
Well,
pretty crazy. He did not know what the
end result.
Yeah, he did. He knew exactly what
He didn't
made
know
the
he-
deal.
he
knew
didn't-
the deal was, he gets her, she goes, he stays. He
Yeah, but
knew he was
he
sacrificing.
didn't know he was
his
going to
life.
make it out.
But
That was
Meg would not
Correct.
encourage him
And
to
so
do
he-
that.
But he was.
I don't know.
willing-
She's like
he was
swimming in a
willing-
different crowd, like, save me! It stinks. It's like a giant mosh pit of dead souls. Like I would be like, save me, Meg.
So I guess we have a different opinion there. But back to the movie.
I like Meg's sass.
Oh,
I think
yes.
she is a great character.
She is.
And my wife's like, well, you like her because you like me. And I'm all like, well, I liked her before you. And maybe you have traits that she has. The little sass and the little, like, the confidence. I still want to know what Meg told you when you did a meet and greet at Disneyland.
The world will never know.
Because you don't know.
I do.
Oh, he knows.
Oh, I do.
It's in his soul.
It is. It's
Will you let us know when you
So
pass?
let's, okay, can
I'll
we
put it in
do-
my will.
let's-
Can you put it in your will?
I'll put it in
Can
my
we
will.
Can I put it
do-
on your tombstone?
Yes.
Meg told Peter this
Yes.
We need to give a little backstory.
over my dead body.
Absolutely.
We need to give a little backstory to our listeners to this Meg conversation.
I don't know. I was like 9 or something.
We
was
were
about the
meeting
time when it came out, yeah.
characters.
And so Meg was a meet and greet character. Jackie, you were there.
I was there, but
She didn't. She doesn't remember anything past a week ago. So,
She's like,
this is
Hercules.
true.
so Meg. I was, at that age, it was like autograph age, so I was asking all the characters for their autographs. So I was asking Meg for hers, and she goes, "I will under one condition," and then she whispered something in my ear, and that has stayed with me forever.
And we
I became a
give
man at that
Peter-
moment.
And we would be like, what did she whisper? And he's like, I'm not saying.
That's right.
Mickey on my butt.
This thing actually caused a fight with my wife. My wife was mad.
She won't.
You didn't tell
I
your
didn't
wife.
tell her. I didn't tell her.
That's
I was-
the
I was-
most
I
fun
was
thing to do
close.
with your wife is to hold
was-
a secret that you can never tell.
I was about to tell her, but it kind of made her feel guilty if I told her. So, she still
Because she'll
doesn't
tell
know.
my wife, and then my wife will tell me, and then you would be
Yeah.
so mad.
Correct. And so it's just like one of those things. It's just like, nope, like nobody
To save a
knows.
marriage, he kept the secret.
That's it. That's it. It would have been over for us, 10 years.
I did the
Told my
same.
secret.
I did a secret with my wife. Like, she was at my place when I was in college, and this giant cockroach went up the wall. I mean, it was like,
Oh my God.
it was like 2-3 inches. It was like scary huge. And I know, like, if I want my wife to ever come back to this place, I cannot let her know, because I went and got a paper towel, and I captured it. And then I flushed it or something like that. And she's like, what was that? And I'm all like, oh, it was nothing. It was just dust. And she's like, it wasn't dust. What was it? And I was all like,
Don't worry
I will
about it."
not let you know. And I was all like, if we get married, I'll let you know. And the day of our after we got married, she was like, what was on the wall? And I was like, oh, it was a giant cockroach, because I wasn't living there anymore. But it was one of those things, like, I was like, nope, not going to tell you. Even the day before, she's like, what was on that wall? I was like, we're not married yet. Can't tell you.
I don't want this to ruin.
I need this for leverage for you marrying me. This cockroach on the wall. True love.
That's it. We keep our secrets for love.
To drive our significant others mad to
That's
love
it.
us. So Hercules, number 1. I will forever watch it. It is a 5 Mickey Bar movie. It's up there with
Yeah.
Rocketeer. It's up there with my favorite movies. It's definitely a top 10 film for me of all time.
Now I gotta go home and watch Hercules.
Yeah.
You're making me want to watch Hercules now.
It's solid for me. And I can't say it's going to be any better. It's just
wouldn't-
different from the other princess movies.
mean-
And it was a breath of fresh air
Yeah.
from what was it? Notre Dame and Pocahontas and Lion King. It's just different, and it just holds up comedy-wise for me.
I agree. Like, you look at Hercules and you compare the beauty and the animation to these other films. It doesn't
flat.
It doesn't match up
I will
to
say
it.
this: my favorite line in the movie is with Hades, and he's all like, I'm trying to do all these things, and you are wearing his merchandise.
It was great.
Oh, that was
Pain
love
and
that
Panic
time.
were great.
That was yes. I think every villain needs a good comic relief.
Do you know who
Side
played
villains.
Pain?
Um,
It's
I
the
don't know his
dad
name,
from Honey I Shrunk the Kids, the
Right.
neighbor,
yes.
Oh,
the one that overreacts. And then
Zelensky.
Panic was Bobcat. I
Yeah.
can't present. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
comedian, and they
Yeah.
were so good.
They were a great combo.
yeah. I think overall it was good, and it's high.
And they had a
because
good
I could
Phil
watch
in
it.
there, not Phil Collins. Phil Atides.
Right.
So you're not against the name Phil,
No.
just Phil Collins.
Danny
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
He's coming. He's gonna reprise the role for the live action.
Thank goodness.
He looks like his.
He looks like the role.
No CGI there. Him and his
even the goat legs.
he'll even have his subs, his jersey subs.
Right.
I love those commercials. I'm just soaking up the smells. Sorry, it's getting to the end of this episode.
I know,
I am
right?
randomly tangenting everywhere.
Well, let us know what's on your list. Why is Tarzan number 1 on your
What
list?
was your number one?
My number 1 was Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, which makes sense.
It's good.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful film.
It was between Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let us know why you felt Tarzan is the best movie in the Renaissance era.
Convince
And-
J-Fifth to Phil Collins.
Your heart. Ugh, I can't even do it. It just hurts my tongue.
Well, you can let us know on all our social medias, our Facebook, our Instagram, our X/Twitter.
I was like, my ex-wife? We don't need to know her.
contact my ex. Her email address is out here. Let her know how you feel about the Matterhorn Yodelers.
If you like Tarzan so much, let her know about it.
right.
Here's some misery for you.
You can
Listen to this.
you can also email us at matterhornyodelers@gmail.com.
Let's
Leave
know
us
if you have any ideas.
share us what your thoughts are. And yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that jazz. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.